Hello everyone. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We are here to kick off part 2 of my Republic of Consciousness vlog. And if you have not watched part 1, this video is not going to make as much sense. So I would highly encourage you to check out part 1 first. I will link it down below so you can go over there if needed. We're going to be picking up where we left off. I read a few books in the last one. I'm still in the middle of The Remembered Soldier. So in this video, I'm going to be finishing The Remembered Soldier, and I'm going to be picking up Iris and the Dead, and I think Little Lazarus as well. And then at the end, I think I'm going to do a ranking of all of the books that I have read for this video and have read from the long list. So you'll get my ranking at the end and then my overall thoughts of the prize this year. So hopefully you're ready to go on the rest of this journey with me, because the Republic of Consciousness prize is just the best book prize, y'all. It's the best. I have started Iris and the Dead. Let me grab it. Here she is. And this one is by Miranda Schreiber. It's published by Book Hug Press, and it is one of the ones I predicted would be on the list. It's also one of the ones that I owned in advance, so that makes it extra nice. And I'm 50 pages. Yeah, I'm exactly 50 pages into this so far. And this book is about our narrator, who I think might be unnamed. I don't remember her name, at least. So if her name comes up later, I'll let you know, but I think so far she might be unnamed. And we are getting her experience with this therapist named Iris, who represents a very formative time in our narrator's life. What drew me to this book initially is that it says it's for fans of Annie Ernaux, whom I love. This is written in like diary entries, journal entries from our narrator to Iris, the therapist. And you know, from the back of the blurb and kind of early on, you start to recognize this picture is forming that they don't have a traditional therapist-client relationship. And this book is talking about a really interesting question of what if you could go back and tell someone exactly how they changed the course of your life. So I think this is our narrator's opportunity to kind of like reclaim her voice and tell Iris how they changed their life. And it's really fascinating so far. I'm really enjoying it. I've already marked one quote that I will share with you. I actually don't remember what it is at this point. Okay, so this diary entry is from middle school. It says, I am 12 to 14. And this is kind of halfway through the diary entry. It says, my father was a refugee, and the logic of immigration is that the new place is safe. Anything bad that happens in the new place originates from within. The problem that afflicted me, therefore, had to be of my own making. Wickedness to many of the people around me was not doing one's best, losing everything, feeling nothing, wasting, as they say, like a broken machine. And that's a little taste of the writing. I thought that was such a good idea that the book is bringing up, because we are talking about systems of trauma and abuse. We're talking a lot about queer identity. In the very beginning of the diaries, you can sort of see that the narrator is queer, but is afraid to come out to the people in their life. And that is something that they talk a lot about in therapy. So yeah, really fascinating themes going on in here. I don't want to say more than that because this book is really short. It's only like 170 pages. And I do think it's better to go in not knowing a lot and have the story revealed along the way, because that's sort of, this book is having to do with like trauma and memory. So you want the reveal to happen along with the diary entries, because it's sort of like the narrator going back themselves and like rifling back through their memories and being able to piece this story together in a more comprehensive and holistic way. So that is my experience with Iris and the Dead so far. Really enjoying it, and I will check back in with you maybe once I finish it, not quite sure, but I will check back in with you. So we'll leave this update here for now, and I will see you in just a little bit. Welcome back. I have since read and finished Iris and the Dead. Had I started this the last time I spoke to you? I think I have, because I read you a quote. So I have finished this and want to give you my kind of final review thoughts on it. I think the only other things important to note before I tell you what I thought about it is the structure of the book. So I did come to realize that this is told in 3 parts. I'm not sure what it calls them. Maybe it calls them parts. Oh, here, I'll show you. So this is like the last one. It says part 3, recovery. So it's told in 3 parts, but the first part is by far the majority of the book. The last 2 sections are fairly short. And that does change the formatting a little bit and the subject matter a little bit between the parts. I do think I like the first part the best, but I think ultimately this book is gonna land around like a solid for me, but I definitely am happy that I read it. So what I really enjoyed about this is the way that it plays with memory over time and how we remember things and how we can reanalyze things at different ages and come to different conclusions or like add or edit to our conclusions that we've come to previously. I enjoyed that. I think this book talks about depression in a really unique and satisfying way, if I can say that. I think it does a good job of talking about like the emptiness of depression and how much you feel like a loss or a removal of self. So I thought that was well described. And then the other thing that I think this book is uniquely doing, and this is my favorite part of the book, is the commentary it's having on generational trauma. Our character in this is Jewish, and it's talking about the impact of having ancestors who have been through horrific experiences and how that might impact our bodies. And I really enjoyed that part of it. Now, the way that all comes together, like the packaging of it, is where it doesn't shine as much to me as maybe the like bigger picture themes that it's exploring. I like the diaristic style. I think that's smart. But sometimes it just felt like the things she was choosing to include in the diary, right? That like the author is choosing to include in the diary, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. I was sort of like, why is this here? And I don't like it when I feel like I'm outside of a book questioning the choices that they're making. I want it to feel more seamless. And then as I'm reflecting afterwards to be like, oh, that was such an interesting, smart choice. This one, I'm like, why'd you put that in there? I have no idea. And I felt that a number of times, especially in the latter half of the novel. So overall, I think this is, very accomplished because this is a debut novel. And I think she really swung for the fences with things. And I do think it's a very compelling piece as a whole. Enjoyed it and happy to have read it. So that is Iris and the Dead. And then I also wanted to give an update because the winner has been announced for this prize. The last update I gave was the day before the winner was going to be announced. So the winner is The Remembered Soldier by Anjet, Daanje, translated by McKay. And this one, you can see I now have it in my hands, finally. I went to 3 bookstores to try and find this. And it's not that the bookstores I went to wouldn't have this type of book, they would. I think it just got sold out everywhere because New Vessel Press is a very small publisher. And this book has had so much critical success and it's been on a lot of prizes. And I think it's just in its nth printing and it's out places. So I'm happy to finally have this and this one. And as I gave you an update last time, I was loving this and I still currently am. I am very close to being done. I only have this much left, a little sliver, and I'm still loving it. I will probably finish it today or tomorrow. I'm super stoked that this won because it has not won the other prizes that it's on. So the National Book Award, it didn't make it to the short list for the International Booker, although it was longlisted. And then I'm not sure about the PEN America prize, how it's doing there. So I'm really happy that this at least won something because it is truly spectacular. I'm gonna wait to give you another update on it until I finish it because I'm so close to the end and I've given you a few updates already, but very, very happy for this. And at this point in my reading, this is probably my favorite of anything I've read for this prize. So I would agree that it's my personal winner so far as well. So that is The Remembered Soldier. So happy to own it, so happy to have it. And we'll leave it there. I will come back and update you once I finish The Remembered Soldier. And then I'm also going to be starting pretty shortly Little Lazarus, which I think will be the last book that I read for this video. So I will see you then. All right, y'all. I have finally finish The Remembered Soldier, and oh my God, this was so good. I will start my review by saying this is absolutely my favorite book of the year so far, and I am going to be hard pressed, I think, to find something that I like more than this. It is truly spectacular, but I'll get into maybe more of my experience at the end. I'll start with just like my review of the book as a whole. I know I've already said a lot about this book, but some additional things that I want to say, because there's so much going on in this book, there's a lot to talk about that I haven't mentioned before, are the writing style and some additional kind of like themes and metaphors that I think the book is using. I think I've mentioned, but maybe it wasn't in this video, that Anjet Daanje is a Dutch author. She's from the Netherlands. The translator is David McKay. This is her first translation in English, at least in the US, but she does have another book that's coming out in 2026 that's being translated by David McKay as well. And the writing style in this is really unique. So almost every paragraph starts with the word "and," which is really effective in this book because it gives you that like rolling, like the endless scroll type of feel, and makes the book feel like propulsive, like it flows into one another. And I think that's very smart with the first person narration, because this book isn't necessarily like plotty. It's relying on tension and that rolling writing style, like constantly starting with "and," to really move you forward. And I do think it achieves that perfectly. Another thing that's going on in this book is photography. It plays a big role in both Amon and Julienne's lives. That is their line of work. They run a photographic studio, and the way that it interweaves photos and memories in the book are similar, and I think they have this like symbiotic relationship between the two of them and almost can replace each other at times. And I don't want to get too into the specifics about the photos because I think that has the potential to reveal things, but it is again playing around with what is real, what is truth, how do we know we've experienced something before, and shows like even that tension in photographs, right? Like photographs are in some ways like staged. Are they really factual? What do they represent? How can they replace memory? It's asking a lot of fascinating questions, and I think because this book is all about memory and trauma, the use of photographs is really symbolic of what the story is trying to make us question. And that really gets to something I love about this book, which is just the immense amount of layers that exist in here. So it's taking a theme of memory and then incorporating many layers in which to think and reflect and experience that theme through. So the first person, real time, present narration when he's already having amnesia, that plays with our perception of memory. The photographs in here plays with our perception of memory. The dream sequences play with our perception of memory. So it's just very, very well crafted, and yeah, so much to say about this. I won't go on any more than I already have because I've talked about this so much, but know that it is truly a spectacular feat of fiction. I absolutely adore this, and I am so happy that it won the prize because it deserves it wholeheartedly. I can't believe this hasn't won some of the other things it's been up for. And that just solidifies for me that the Republic of Consciousness Prize really knows what they're doing, because this is such a worthy winner. So if you have not read this, please pick it up if anything I've said sounds interesting to you. Again, I don't read war books, and this is my favorite book of the year so far. It shook me. Like when I finished this, I turned to my partner and was like, I am unwell because of this book, in the best way. So that is The Remembered Soldier. Finally finished it. So happy I own it. Love. So next up, I will be picking up Little Lazarus. So I will check back in with you once I've started reading that. Let's do an update on my Republic of Consciousness reading. I have started Little Lazarus, and I am, I think, almost exactly halfway through. This is by Michael Bible and it's published by Clash Books. I'm reading it on my e-reader, so I will put the image up here. And so far, I'm really enjoying this. I'm so happy I kind of like shoved this on the end and decided to read it. I think it's one, very unique and very captivating. So this book is told through the perspective sometimes of two different tortoises. We have Lazarus and little Lazarus, but we also get some other perspectives, human perspectives as well. The very first chapter I thought was very intriguing. It is told in this authoritative, grand tone, very much like the voice actor type of thing, like the inner world. It has that type of feel to it, and I loved it. And then we immediately switch in the next chapter. We're in the perspective of Francois, and Francois is in love with this girl. I can't remember her name. Apologies to that girl. He's in love with this girl, very enamored by her. They're young, they're in high school and being fairly reckless. And we get the sense that people feel she has a darkness about her and she goes missing. And she is the caretaker of little Lazarus, and that kind of sets off little Lazarus's journey after she goes missing, and he starts changing hands in who owns him. So that's the initial setup. I don't think I'm going to give you more than that. And it is kind of a bizarre setup. You bounce around quite frequently, and I really don't know where this book is going to go, nor do I really understand at this point what this book is trying to say. I am getting the feeling, or at least I'm hoping, otherwise it's maybe I'm just not getting it, that the book is supposed to come together at the end and you are able to like see more clearly what the author is trying to do. But yeah, very fascinating so far. Not what I thought the book was going to be about. So we'll see how that keeps going. But that is my update on little Lazarus. So I will check back in with you once I've finished it. And then we'll get to do my ranking of all of the books that I've read for the Republic of Consciousness Prize, which I'm very excited to do. So I will see you then. I have finally finished the last book for this video, so we're gonna go ahead and talk about it. Big is snoring very loudly in the background. Let me see if I can show his face. I think it's kind of hidden. Yeah, you're not gonna be able to see it, but he's snoring very loudly. Little does he know that he's getting a bath later today, so this is the calm before the storm. But let's talk about little Lazarus, because I did finish it and I loved this book. I'm so happy to report that I loved this book. I've enjoyed so many of the books off of this list, but we'll talk about that in a second. So I still stand by everything that I said about little Lazarus previously. I do think the ending of this novel is really interesting, and I think it really like puts a period on the book and is a big reason why I loved it. It is bookended by this like omniscient perspective of the tortoises, the two tortoises bookend, and it has that same like really grand tone that I was talking about earlier, and I think it's such a good way to end the book, and it helps it to feel very profound. I was tearing up at the end of the book, and I think that is in large part to the tone, and there's gonna be lots of twitching, dreaming twitching. Yeah, I thought it was so good. It also helps bring into perspective what I think this book is trying to do thematically, which is to talk about the interconnectedness of life. I loved it. It's already a theme that I'm going to be aligned with anyway, but it really speaks to like this philosophy around like going with the flow of life and being able to like observe and witness the interconnectedness of things going on around you, which I think the tortoises do really well. Other things I liked about this book is, one, it's just really unique, which I think the Republic of Consciousness Prize really celebrates and is part of why I love it. It's such an interesting, evocative way to talk about that theme, and not just like the narrative lenses that I think are really unique, but also in the tonal shifts from perspective to perspective. There's a lot of like mysterious nature in the not totally linear chronology that we're following. I also think this book just has a left of center take on climate change. Maybe not take on climate change, but the way that it's talking about climate change, because this book is a climate change novel. I think that starts very subtly and then we get less subtle the further we go into the book. And yeah, for such a short book, I want to say this is like 120 pages or something like that. It fits so much in, and I think it does it really well, and I loved it. I definitely want to buy this book, and I'm so happy that I ended up adding it on to the end of this video, because it wasn't one of the ones I was originally planning on reading. But so great. And Independent Bookstore Day is coming up, so I have added it to the list of things for me to pick up that day. So now we're going to rank the books that I read for this video. I had to take a quick look at my computer to just remember what I've read, because I've been reading for this video for so long. And I completed 6 books. I DNF'd 1, and then I didn't even attempt 3. So I'm just going to rank the ones that I finished. And for me, they are in 2 halves. I have a top 3 that were all 5 stars and I really loved. And then I have a, close second tier that I enjoyed. I think I would definitely still recommend and got a lot out of, but don't reach like the love category of the other 3. So from the bottom to the top, I actually think the one that I liked the least, depending on the day, I think it's Iris and the Dead by Miranda Schreiber. So this one's gonna come in 6th place. In 5th place, I would put On Earth as It Is Beneath by Anna Paula Maya, translated by Padma Vishwanathan. In 4th place, I would put Hot House Bloom by Austin Wohlers. Is that who writes it? I think so. But I will say, Iris and the Dead and On Earth as Is Beneath are really close to each other. Hot House Bloom, I think, takes a step up for me, which is so interesting because when I first finished that book, I was like, oh, I enjoyed this, but my appreciation for that book has grown since time has passed. And I also think I want to purchase that book. It's really just stuck in my mind. I think I talked about this. That book is so evocative and visceral, and the images are like burned into my brain. That's kind of my bottom 3. My top half, my top 3, I think I would put, ooh, these are hard. These are my darlings. I think I would put Little Lazarus coming in at number 3. Then I would put Small Scale Sinners. Little Lazarus is by Michael Bible. Small Scale Sinners is by Maureen Sohail. Those 2 did make me feel things very deeply, but I think this just like personally connected to some things in my life, which that's some of the biased nature of me ranking this. So this would come in at number 2. And then my number 1, which was the easiest one to pick, is The Remembered Soldier by Anjet, Daanje, translated by David McKay. This is my favorite thing I've read so far this year, and I loved it. I will think about this for so long. I will reread this at some point again in my life. It was fantastic. So that is my ranking of the 6 books that I read. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me. I have loved it. I mean, clearly I liked everything that I ended up finishing. I know I DNF'd a book, but that's fine. For me to enjoy and really enjoy this many books from a long list, I think speaks so highly to not just the selection of the books, which I do think are very unique. You're never gonna find another prize list that has this amount of variety and originality, in my opinion. And it also is just the one that aligns best with my personal taste. So I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Thank you to all the judges for putting these books on my radar. And I would love to know if you have read any of these books. Please let me know what you thought about them. Let me know what you thought about the long list, the short list, the winner, and we'll keep the Republic of Consciousness discussion going all year if we need to. So I will see you in the next video very soon. Bye.